I had a question
Have
for
you
you too.
watched any of the news?
No, I don't watch the news ever, on purpose.
Okay. Have you seen about what's going on in Silicon Valley?
No. See, this is what I mean. This is why I don't watch the news, because anything big, a
Oh,
friend
come.
will
Let's,
eventually tell me about it.
okay, well, let's just do a juicy bit about that. 1
Hmm.
second.
Hold on.
Canadian politics is boring, juicy bits.
Canadian politics is boring, juicy bits.
I didn't even know that was an intro. You son of a bitch. You sly, sneaky son of a bitch. I was drinking my coffee, and I just thought it was you asking me about. Oh, that was good.
Well,
I knew you were
I,
recording when you hit that fucking, and I had to start dancing. Okay, so
I
anyway,
love I love the parallel universes we live in. I spent all weekend checking my phone to see if there was the imminent collapse of the banking system going on, and worrying about uh, total collapse of our system and our ability to
now I do
have
have to interrupt.
commerce. And you were just, I don't know, what were you doing all weekend?
Uh, I wa- I watched. I had a Rings of Power marathon while eating pancakes and sushi. Not at the same time, because that'd be
Did
weird.
you worry about the Silicon Valley Bank at all?
No, not at all. I haven't even heard of it. Is this a Canadian story?
It is, yeah, because this
Okay.
affects Canada. Yeah,
Oh,
this
all
does
right.
affect
Like
Canada
it's a
too.
global thing, affects everything. So you know, that's a cop out.
What do you mean?
Like you could also call this a Turkish episode, because technically it would affect Turkey, like Turkestan, Turkmenistan.
No, okay. Well, do you want me to get to the point while you
Yes.
try and name countries?
Tell me all about it.
So, the Silicon Valley Bank funds.
Oh, I've never heard of this.
So
Bank.
Silicon is the 16th largest bank in the United States.
Fuck.
It had $200 billion of assets and $340 billion of client funds on its books at the end of last year. And it's primarily a bank that helps fast growing startups. So Roku, Etsy, those kind of high tech Silicon Valley companies were all customers of this bank. And essentially, 25% of their customers tried to withdraw their funds, and it tipped the bank over to collapse, which
All at the same time? Wow.
yes, there was a kind of a run on the bank, everyone pulling their money out. Well, 25% pulling their money out. But because banks are allowed to they don't have to have a lot of liquid assets. As long as everyone doesn't take their money out at the same time, usually it's fine. But
Because
when
it's
everyone
like
takes their money out,
the
then
funny thing
then,
about
then they're in
banks
trouble.
is because of that, it's technically all banks are a giant Ponzi scheme, where
They are, yeah.
yeah, like we're getting money from this guy to pay you your interest. Like it's
No,
anyway.
last time this happened to banks, and the reason I was so thing about it was 2008 when that happened. I got stuck in negative equity. Me and my wife had just bought our first house. Didn't have any kids. We just bought our first house, and then 6 months later, we were trapped in negative equity.
What
in our
is
home.
negative equity?
It meant that our house was worth less than we'd borrowed to buy it.
Hold on, what? Oh,
So say your house was worth $100,000,
yeah.
and you paid a $20,000 deposit, and then you borrowed $80,000. But then the economy crashes and your house is now worth $50,000. Well, you still owe a bank $80,000 plus interest.
There's got to be a way of leveraging that. There has
What?
to be.
No, you have to literally pay your way out of it. That's the only way you can get out of it.
Well, that sucks. All right.
So when people start talking about bank collapses, I kind of tend to go, I remember that.
Okay.
That was hard. That was a really dark time in my life.
So how would this affect Canada?
Well, Canada also has branches, or did have a branch in Toronto. So a lot of high tech investment, a lot of the companies that people get excited about, a lot of the high tech companies that are kind of generating like the fastest growth and they're kind of creating all those kind of jobs where you get fruit and slides, all those kind of companies. Are the ones that were in a position where they might not be able to make payroll or might have to lay off, because if you stop paying your staff, you're then eligible to be sued for not paying your staff. So it's easier just to lay people off.
Wow. Okay, that's frightening. So what happened?
So what's happened? Well, this is ongoing, Jesse. This is why I'm watching my phone and paying attention to it while you I don't know, do whatever you were doing, square dancing or whatever.
Yep, that's what I was doing.
And the worry is
Yee
that,
fucking ha. Keep
and
going.
so the U.S. federal government has offered to kind of guarantee everyone's money, and then other banks as well. They're starting to kind of try and shore up. So because if you get a run on one bank, sometimes people in other banks can start to pull their money out too because they're worried about losing their money, and then that just causes the whole system to fall apart, like in the 1920s.
Right.
So they're trying their best right now to make sure that doesn't happen, to guarantee everyone's money so that it doesn't spread and everyone just pulls their money out and everything crashes. But also in the meantime, if you're in like a Silicon Valley investment area, if you work for a big Silicon Valley kind of company and you've been involved in investments, it means you could lose your job as well.
Fuck. Okay, that sucks.
So it's a very, very, very the juiciest of all the bits right now because
So it's still ongoing. So I guess the biggest question is, why did 25% of the bank's customers suddenly all want to take their money out at the same time?
my understanding is something to do with like interest rates. I don't know. I'm not a financial expert, but I think it's interest rates and people something to do
So
with
the
like
bank
how
the bank
dysfunctional
increased
things are right now.
the bank increased interest rates, and 25% of their customers were like, "Fuck that," and they just decided to leave. Good for them.
So I think the rise in interest rates meant that like venture capital was drying up. So it was more expensive to borrow money. So people were tapping into the deposits and pulling more money out.
And so the bank saw a way to make profit from this by raising interest rates, and people were like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, and then the bank was losing revenue, so it started to sell some of its portfolio, and it made a loss on them, and they lost their value in their bank. So it meant people were like lose confidence in them, so they wanted to pull their money out, which then causes the bank to collapse. So it just shows how shaky it's the terrifying reality that we all live in that we have no control over.
I don't find it terrifying at all, Rhys. I love this. This is chaos. This is chaos unburdened. This is amazing. Oh, let it shine. Let it burn. Sorry,
Cool.
I'm back.
Well,
Hi.
it's
This
nice.
is quite scary for everyone, I imagine. This is not a good thing. Not a good thing at all.
I mean, it's not great. No,
No.
it's not exactly like I don't know. It's hardly Canada Day, but I don't know. I don't know if I don't.
Imagine
I'm
on
kind
Canada Day if it was like kind of just our thing that we all took our money out of our banks at once. Just
of. But for me, I'm not an expert on it, so I'm trying to piece together what's going on from multiple places.
okay.
And then whatever you do, don't go on Reddit because everyone's kind of gives different opinions and pretends they're an expert anonymously.
I mean, that is how they saved GameStop, though. Reddit is a powerful force.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It really is. The anti-work Reddit thread is has been strong for years now.
So you suggesting that you use Reddit to tank what's left of the banking system by encouraging everyone to take their money out of the banks?
I didn't say those words. No, I think
You saying you want to burn it all down in order to build a new reality?
I think you just said those words.
Just burn it all down. If
Yeah.
I tell you what, I'm okay with you burning everything down, Jesse, if it means I get to keep my house, make sure my kids are fed and clothed,
Uh-huh.
and that we can keep the lights on and the heating on. If those are my terms, as long as we can have a vacation every once in a while, and new clothes when we need them, and as long as we can kind of, I don't know, go to
Your
the
3
movies,
cars, your
go to
brandy,
the movies
your
3 times a month
vacations,
or whatever, and if we want to. Yes, I want to keep my subscription to my streaming platform. As long as we can do those, and maybe every once in a while we do get a takeout, and maybe we go out for a fancy meal, and we can get childcare, so me and my wife can have a date night as well. As long as all those things are intact,
Don't forget your
and
hot
also
tub. The hot tub in the backyard.
and the hot tub, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
and vets bills for the dog and all those things, and and also I like having unlimited data on my phone as long as I can keep that as my contract terms.
Right, of course. Yes.
And
This
my
all
kids,
sounds very reasonable.
they've
yeah.
all got devices. Like they, and we have,
Each one of
high-speed
your
internet.
kids needs to have their iPhone, their iPad, their iWatch.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, that's just
as long as we can have all
reasonable,
of those
course.
things, then
Of course.
if that, and I'd like to get my haircut once a month.
Sure.
My wife not as often, but it's like way more expensive than mine.
Right, of course. Don't forget your cocaine habit too. That's
Also,
just like, yeah,
also my daughter loves Lululemon, so
of course.
we've
Yeah,
got to feed that habit too.
of course. Yeah.
She's 13, but she's got very
Mhm.
expensive tasting clothes. It's not my fault.
Right, it's not your fault. No, of course.
As long as we can keep all those things,
Right.
then yeah, burn the system down. Let's start all over again.
I'm glad you're on board, Rhys.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it.
I knew I'd get you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been a fun, juicy bit.
Not really Canadian, but big in the news, so fuck it. Let's talk about
but
it.
it is because it is. This affects.
I mean, sure, I guess. Yeah, I guess it does. Yeah, all right, fine.
Good.
Affects
Right.
us.
Okay.
Fine.
So
I'll concede.
this has been. I'm just going to go back and doom scroll for the next 3 weeks. So
Send us a speak pipe if you've got a hot take on today's juicy bits. And Canadian speakpipe.com/Canadian politics is boring. It's anonymous. You can send us a voicemail right away. Let us know.
Yay.
Play it.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye. Don't forget to dance. You got to dance. You ready?
Canadian politics is boring juicy bits.
Canadian politics